So the first one right here under this beautiful arch that invites you to come in and have a nice walkabout, Jack in the Pulpit or Indian turnip. And there's three different kinds, but I think this is the main one, the most common. Aracema atrorubens. It's usually beneath two leaves that arch over the hood, which is called the spathe, and inside the hood is the jack. We can take a peek if you want. There it is. There's the jack. And often these flowers have these little roads in them that direct insects down into where they'll find what they need. So there's a beautiful red trillium there, although the flower has bloomed and then now it's drying up. It's kind of at its heyday. 3 petals, 3 sepals, and 3 petals on the flower. This is the foam flower, and that's the common name, and I think foam flower is fitting the way it looks, sort of foamy and fluffy up top. The flowers come off a raceme, which is the long stem, and the leaves are not connected to that stem. They come next door, right next to it from the ground. They're called basal leaves. The flowers have long stamens, so that's why it looks so spiky, each one. Okay, there's a beautiful shot of 3 different star flowers. The scientific name is Trientalis borealis, and borealis refers to the scarf of woods in the northern hemisphere, which is where it was seen by the first person that decided, I better send this to Linnaeus. 5 to 10 leaves in a whorl around the stem, and 5 to 10 pointed petals on the star flower itself. Canada Mayflower is this tiny little plant with 2 leaves. It's also called wild lily of the valley. Its scientific name is Melanthemum canadense, and the species name canadense means that it was found in Canada. What happened was Carl Linnaeus, a Swedish botanist in the 1700s, was the father of naming plants and animals. And he had devotees that traveled all around the world finding flowers and sending them back to him. So that person was probably a naturalist in Canada. So when he sent this little flower back to Linnaeus, he used the location canadensis for the species name. And that's a little tiny raceme, also a little tiny stem with lots of little flowers on it. Very common. In the woods, you'll just see a carpet of Canada Mayflower without any blooms, just a carpet of them. Mayapple is also called mandrake. It's a solitary white flower growing beneath 2 large, deeply cleft leaves. And people say it's poisonous to the touch. It'll irritate your skin. But that flower turns into a little fruit, which is actually edible. Believe it or not, it's in the buttercup family. It's called a small flowered crowfoot. Ranunculus abortivus. The stem leaves are deeply lobed. That's all the cuts in them. And it's in the buttercup family. And if you look closely, it's just a tiny little flower with like 5 little tiny petals. It's not particularly enticing, but it's just part of the wildflower domain. Hi, that's called bishop's cap. And if you look very closely at one of the little flowers, it looks almost like a snowflake. It's just beautiful. There's a pair of leaves right in the middle, and that's very characteristic of this wildflower. And the scientific name is Mitella diphylla, and the diphylla refers to the 2 leaves, the 2 partner leaves on the stem. There's more leaves down below, but as the flower grows, there's only 2 leaves on the stem in the middle. It's in the saxifrage family, just like foam flower, so they have the same botanical family. The families are usually about their reproductive systems.